Hello and welcome to Scientific Supplement Reviews. In today's video, I will review hormone replacement therapy, HRT for short, and its possible effect on biological aging in menopausal women. Specifically, I will present the exciting results from a brand new study published only a couple of days ago. This study sets out to investigate the effect of HRT on a woman's physiology in two specific ways. Firstly, it looks at the discrepancy between chronological and biological age to see if HRT has any effect on biological aging. And secondly, it attempts to ascertain if any observed effect on biological age by HRT is influenced by a person's socioeconomic or health status. So now, let me mansplain to you the study's observations. Let's start with some background and briefly look at the nature and purpose of hormone replacement therapy, or HRT for short. A woman's menstrual cycle is tightly regulated by a number of pituitary and ovarian hormones, whose levels fluctuate over a 28-day period. During the menopause, the overall levels of these hormones start to drop, bringing with it changes in the female physiology and psychology that can have a significant impact on quality of life. By administering progesterone and estrogen externally to counteract the falling natural levels of these hormones, HRT aims to reduce the symptoms of the menopause. Now let's talk about this recent study which investigates the possible effect of HRT on a woman's biological age. The study authors make use of what surely is one of the most valuable resources available to science today, the UK Biobank, a collection of the genetic material and health records of 500,000 individuals. Specifically for this retrospective cohort study, the authors investigated the biological age of a total of almost 120,000 menopausal women, of which approximately 70,000 women had never been on HRT and about 47,000 women have had HRT. Before we can look at the results of this publication, we must first understand how biological age was calculated for the individuals included in this study. Using a previously published method, the details of which I will not go into here, the authors use 9 clinical chemistry biomarkers to calculate an individual's biological age. By subtracting chronological age, i.e. time since birth, from biological age, we obtain a value known as the biological age discrepancy value. A positive value represents an individual that is biologically older than her chronological age, and a negative discrepancy value represents a biologically younger individual. Now let's get into the meat of the matter and look at the study's findings. Firstly, let's start with the headline result, where the authors simply compared the biological age discrepancy of all women with HRT to that of all women without HRT. They find that, on average, menopausal women on HRT are biologically younger than women who did not receive HRT. Next, the authors investigated whether the effect of HRT on biological age was influenced by a woman's socioeconomic status. They found that, by one measure of socioeconomic status, namely educational attainment, HRT had a significantly stronger impact on reducing biological age in women without a university degree compared to those women who had undergone higher education. Since lower socioeconomic status is generally associated with worse health outcomes, these findings may have important implications when it comes to the idea of leveling up in public health. Next, the investigators of this study asked whether HRT's effect on biological age may be modified by a woman's health background. Very interestingly, they found that with 2 common age-related ailments, namely high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes, the relative beneficial effects of HRT on reducing biological age were significantly greater than in healthy women. The difference can be considered as statistically highly significant with very small p-values. And finally, there is one other finding reported in this study that is noteworthy and important, and it pertains to a woman's age at the start of hormone replacement therapy. As mentioned earlier, when looking at the entire cohort of menopausal women, as shown here, and comparing those with HRT to those without HRT, then there is an overall beneficial effect on reducing biological age in women with HRT. When breaking down the cohort of women with HRT into categories according to the woman's age at the time HRT was commenced, an interesting subtlety emerges. And that is the fact that the biological age-reducing effects of HRT only manifest in women who started on HRT after their 45th birthday. For women in the youngest age category, 44 years at the start of HRT or younger, there is in fact a positive biological age discrepancy, meaning that in those women HRT ostensibly had an aging effect compared to women of that age who did not undergo hormone therapy. Now, one may be tempted to conclude that HRT has a beneficial effect on biological aging in older women and a detrimental effect in younger women, but that would almost certainly be a fallacy. We must keep in mind that this is purely an observational study, and a retrospective one at that. Consequently, it seems to me to be a much more likely explanation that in the youngest age category here, commencement of HRT is simply a proxy marker of early onset menopause, which is conceivably associated with worse health outcomes, thus leading to accelerated biological aging. This hypothesis would have to be tested. So, to summarize, this recent research study finds that hormone replacement therapy is associated with slightly slower biological aging in women aged 45 and older. The effect is more pronounced in women of lower socioeconomic status and in those individuals who suffer from hypertension and type 2 diabetes. We must note a number of caveats. Firstly, this is not a placebo-controlled clinical trial, but a retrospective observational study, meaning that we can only speak of association and not of causality. Furthermore, it is important to note that hormone replacement therapy is not a singularly defined intervention. There are different routes through which the hormones may be administered, and in some cases, testosterone may be given alongside the female sex hormones. Depending on these parameters, different health outcomes may be observed. This study simply included all women who answered yes to the question of whether they were on HRT. So, there you have it. I hope you have enjoyed this breaking news installment of Scientific Supplement Reviews. Please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments about any other supplements you would like me to review.